Welcome to Quilt-Cam, everybody. This is Bonnie Hunter in the basement at Quiltville, and we are gathering here Wednesday night, January 25th, my son Jeff's birthday. He turns 27 today. I can hardly believe it. And I asked him if he wanted to do dinner, and he said, not tonight. So we've got a rain check. He worked hard today, but my baby boy is 27, and I turned 55 double nickels on the 23rd. So we spent Monday driving back up from South Carolina. I was supposed to be home Sunday night, but the weather was so bad that I ended up staying in Columbia. And this was a good thing because it allowed me to hit two giant antique malls out of Charlotte and Concord on the way home, and a stop at IKEA also, which is extra fun. So I'm here trying to be sure that our feed is going, and I'm going to hit refresh on this page because it looks like I'm frozen on on the Facebook page. If you've never seen what my setup looks like, I took some pictures just before starting so I can show you that we've got a tablet with an external microphone plugged into the charging jack, and then I've got my laptop set up that I can watch the live feed to see what you're seeing. On the tablet, I'm live time. On the laptop, I'm frozen. So I don't know what's going on here, but you know, it's always an adventure in the basement at Quiltville. So it looks like it moves and then it freezes and it moves and it freezes, and hopefully it's not doing that on the screen for you, because on the tablet it looks live, it's in time with what I'm doing, and it looks just fine. So what am I doing? String blocks and more string blocks and more string blocks, and you're probably tired of seeing them, but I am working on the sample quilts for my next book down the pipeline. And if you enjoyed my book String Fling, well, this one is a follow-up to that, because when you start making string blocks, you just can't stop. There's just no way to stop, and the ideas keep coming. I've got behind me, which you can't see, but my Dawn's Early Light quilt. The block appeared in 100 Blocks by 100 Designers. Was that in May? I think it was the last May issue, and I've been working in getting it to full quilt size, and I'm up to the borders. Last time we were together, I thought I would do something like this, and it doesn't look like much because it's not trimmed up yet. And then all of these emails came in saying, those strips in the center really need to be the same size, and it would bother people if they didn't meet exactly in the corners. And I went back to the drawing board. So back to the drawing board, and I thought about it for the last couple of weeks, so we haven't been together, and it finally came to me today. If I wanted the strip down the center to be the same width, so that it could go from block to block to block to block, I thought about, well, what if I took a string block and cut it in half and just pieced an even strip down the center, sewing the two triangles back on? And then I thought, well, what if I make my string block and I can cut it across the strings instead of with the strings, so that I have a place for my seam allowance to go. So this is the back side of my prototype, and you can see the front side. And I've got two different halves of the piece triangle on either side of the center strip, so that nothing has to match anything, and it gets more motion going on. And when I add these together for these zigzags, they're going to make a nice pattern, top and bottom, as they go around the quilt. Now, only one problem. These turned out too small. I spent this afternoon drafting things in EQ, and this is usually about the time that I actually put the quilt into EQ, is when I need to figure out what I have to do to get the border units to fit right. And that means sometimes adding sashing or coping strips, or adding an inner border that'll make the repeat of the border turn out right. And these, they're about a ½ an inch too small. I forgot that when I insert a strip, even though I'm inserting this strip, I still lose all of this seam allowance. So I am back to the drawing board with a bigger size of square. But that's what's going on here. If somebody could please email me and let me know that Quilt-Cam is working, because I still look frozen on my own laptop. My email is quiltville@gmail.com. I'm going to refresh this one more time. Like I said, it's always a delightful challenge, and it usually freezes you with your face in some crazy angle. to be sure that this is working for you. I'd like to welcome those who are brand new. I'd like to, oh, there's a message right there that says it's working. So that's from Irene. So even if I'm frozen on my own laptop, at least I know that it's working. So if you are brand new and this is your first Quilt-Cam, what you can do is send me an email to quiltville@gmail.com and include any photos that you wish me to share with everybody. My computer's frozen, so I can't even see the messages that you're typing from here. And I'd love to hear about what you're working on, what you're doing, what your latest finish is, what your plans are for quilts in the future. And as we are getting close to the end of January, I wanted to remind everybody that our En Provence mystery retires February 1st. So by the 31st of January at midnight, on the 31st of January, you need to have saved everything to your computer or printed it off. And I suggest that even if you are saving it, things happen to computers, and even little thumb drives can get lost. Paper, ink, page protectors, binder, you will be set with everything. So remember, unless you want to pay for a digital download, you're going to get that printed off by February 1st. I finished the binding on the garlic knots quilt as well, and all that's left is the hanging sleeve on that, and that will be this weekend's I guess evening chore, not really a chore, evening pleasure stitching, because after dinner when we are up at the cabin, I don't do any machine stitching. It's all hand sewing, feet up in the recliner, watching something on Netflix, and just enjoying some family time with some quiet hand stitching. So that's coming up. What else have we not talked about since we saw each other last? We had some lookies on our cabin, and they are coming back in a couple of weeks, and they asked all kinds of great questions. So we know that they're serious lookers. They're a family with some pre-teenage boys, and they asked if ATVs are allowed on all of the roads up on the mountain, even the roads for cars. And the answer is yes. That's what Buck Mountain is built for. There's 35 miles of roads, plus miles and miles of off-road trails through the woods and the forests and down along waterfalls and creeks and streams and things like that. So hopefully the right family will adopt our cabin, and we'll be moving Quilt Villa to Virginia. So Quilt Villa, VA is around the corner with a closing date, hopefully around mid-March, which would be great because the Hubster's birthday is the 16th of March, the day before St. Patty's Day. So that would be perfect. I want to show you a little bit about this sewing machine. Maybe you've seen me use it before, maybe you haven't. This one is a 301 short bed. This is a short bed, and it fits cabinet. Now the 301s are wonderful machines. They take a featherweight sized bobbin, which is probably their only drawback. But if you have a featherweight and a 301, the bobbin cases and the bobbins are interchangeable. What I love about this machine is it's completely gear driven, and it'll do about 1,200 stitches a minute if you put the pedal to the metal. This cabinet actually has a knee control, so I don't have to put my foot on a pedal. And unlike the modern machines where the knee control lifts the presser foot, this one runs the motor. And she's just a really sweet stitcher. So you can see that I have added strips on one side of this square. It's time to add some strips on the other side of the square, and you'll probably find me doing string quilts all throughout 2017 because I've got to get these samples made for the next book. When I am working with strips, and they're all one color family, I try to push the boundaries of what's going in here. Even though this is going to be a blue block with a red stripe down the center, I don't want all my reds the same, and I don't want all my blues the same. And I've chosen several that have patterns and other different colors on them. And I think that's going to add a lot to the quilt. I'm doing my usual 2 in a chain, an engine and a caboose, so that I can quickly add strips on these blocks and finish blocks as we go. There's your 1,200 stitches a minute. It rivals any modern machine out there, only it's all metal parts, no plastic, no computer. Anybody recognize this fabric? It's gotta go. So I can add the same one, tend to work from a small pile of strings until the variety in this pile is not good anymore. There's not enough variety. Then I'll pull another handful, because you don't want to be digging through a whole 30-gallon Rubbermaid tub just to find one right strip when they're all right. So I tend to work strips until the strips are gone, work from a small handful of scraps until the variety needs replenishing, and I can kick these blocks out relatively quickly. How many do I need? 84. Are you moaning with me? 84, let's go. If I could choose only one vintage straight stitch machine, electric, we won't include the treadles in there too, because those are a different beast, I'd probably choose the 301. And then second, the 404, which is its close cousin. And the 404 actually has a bigger bobbin, which in some cases would be much more beneficial. But they have the same motor setup, the same gear setup, and they sew just as fast. So if you're just looking into getting into vintage sewing machines, be on the lookout for a 301. They used to be very affordable, but in the last 5 years, they've really gone up in price. And I sold one this weekend to Linda. Hopefully she's enjoying it. This was a curved piece of something, and I am just going to give myself a straight edge. When I'm working with strings, oh yeah, that's just big enough, I don't worry about grain so much. I've even got this set on a very small stitch length, and it is still zooming that fast. This stitch is very tiny. Can you see that? Oh, and these papers? They were old order forms from my long ago, 20 years ago, doll pattern business. I paid for these papers. They can now be foundations until they are gone. Okay. I'm just going to finish this little block, and then we'll take some questions. If you are on Facebook and you leave me a message, I won't be able to find it until after Quilt-Cam is over, and then sometimes I have to scroll through 600 messages to get it. So email is always better, quiltville@gmail.com. I will embed this feed in my blog after the fact, and you can leave a comment on the blog if you are watching later, and I will get that. It will also be on my YouTube channel, and I will get those comments also. But the best way to get me a picture, if you want to share with me what you're working on, is to email it to me. One more, and this one will be ready. Did you see? I didn't want to put my back on you anymore, back towards you, so I moved my iron. And I can feel the heat, and I'm having a major hot flush right now. Okay, one more. And this one's done. So these squares will now be a little oversized. The ones that I tried, my test ones, were about ½ an inch too small. So I just went up, and I went up a little bit more than that ½ inch so that I'm sure that I can have enough room to go around. But I think these will be cute. And when they go side by side by side, they're going to make that really, really fun zigzag. So the strings are going one way, but the zigzags are going the other way. And then when the strings meet in the center here, you're also going to get kind of that chevron look. I think it's going to be awesome. So sometimes we end up with a couple of duds, but they'll go in something. I might even be able to save some of these and then just sew them onto the other blocks. Maybe. We'll see. Okay, and then this one's not quite done, and we're going to go one more, and then we'll go to the email. I got a really exciting proposition today. It doesn't happen that often. No, it's not that kind of proposition. It's I was contacted by Alex Anderson and her husband John of The Quilt Show, and guess what's coming up in March, along with the closing on Quilt Villa VA? It's Quilting Week. Quilting Week happens, and you know the Quilting Weekend thing? I think it's around the 18th, 19th, which is that same weekend that we would be taking possession of Quilt Villa VA, is when the quiltshow.com does all of their free episodes, and they open up everything, and they've contacted a few different designers, me included, to participate in super duper giveaways. So I have put together a gift basket, and I'm talking big gift basket worth $360 worth of merchandise. There's books, there's tools, there's fabric, there's quilting videos, there's patterns, there's notions, there's everything in this gift basket. And as soon as I have more information on how the Quilt Show wants to run this and how we're going to promote it, I will let you know, because you'll have to register on their site for it, and they'll draw the winner, and then they let me know who the winner is, and then I do the shipping. So that's going to be really exciting. And then we have another giveaway coming up really soon. I've got a quilt maker bundle that's within this next week, and some other fun stuff. Okay, so this block is done. And I wanted to show you all the different stuff that's going on in here. So you can see all those different blues, the prints, the patterns, even this blue. This was some really weird kind of, looks like Aurora Borealis kind of stuff. But I think it's going to add some interest. I didn't want all the blues exactly the same. So there's some florals. Here's a metallic gold swirl, a tone-on-tone, some leaves, kind of a snowflake thing, and it's all going to work just great. Okay, I'm going to the email to see here. Tammy Frank says, finally getting to watch live. So this is Tammy in Temple, Texas. Looking forward to the new book on strip quilts. Is there a tentative date yet? I'm thinking, I'm just recovering from the release of Addicted to Scraps. So we're probably looking at very late 2018. I would really prefer spring of 19, because it really takes about 2 years to get a book done. I mean, when you figure I'm making 12 big quilts, and then I have to write the manuscript and turn it over, and then we go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, in between everything else that I've got to do. 2.5 years from the last book to the next one is about right. If I wanted more publications faster, I'd have to stop my on-the-road teaching, because you just can't do it. You just can't do it all. So we're probably looking at spring 2019, but we're already towards spring 2017, so we're looking at about 2 years. Okay, so save those strings, start separating them in color families, and be ready, because it's going to be awesome. She says, hoping to see the green and gray ones you worked in the past. Also, do you remove your seam guide when doing strings? I didn't put the seam guide down on this one. I have it right here, but the thing about these seam guides are, because they're adhesive and they're very low profile, I could leave it here and string piece over it and it doesn't bother me. I can leave it here and do stitch and flip corners and it's not in the way. I can leave it here and do bindings or whatever it is, because the profile is so low, yet it's so sturdy and stiff that the fabric finds the edge. Oh, I have somebody. Come here, Sadie. Come up here, honey. Come here. Come here. Come jump up. See Mama. Come on. She wants to say hi. Come here. You're going to say hi? Come to me. Come on. Come on. Can you say hi to everybody? Hello, big girl. How are you? Do you give kisses? Give kisses? You're such a good girl. I can't give you a treat right now. Did you want a treat? Is that what you want? You want a treat? You'll have to wait until after Quilt-Cam. So Sadie's been a sweet girl, and since I got back from South Carolina on Monday, she hasn't left my side, but I think she just came in from the backyard because her ears are cold. Or a little bit cool anyway. Good girl. I don't have any treats here. But what was I going to say? Oh, this afternoon, 72 degrees. I went and did quilt photography for garlic knots out on the neighborhood fence at the end of my road. The guy has a beautiful barn out in the back and the fence in the front, and the weeds are kind of wintry, and it just looked really neat. So it's the same fence that I used for filming our En Provence. So those photos are ready. I'm going to be writing up the pattern for garlic knots and En Provence and have them both release as digital patterns at the same time. And if you know me, and you know me well, there will also be a blanket sale on digital patterns for the few days that those first go available. So they'll be available on sale as soon as we get them written. See, now what else was I talking about? Oh yeah, the seam guide thing. This usually just stays down where it is. I have it, this was off of the other machine, and when I switched machines, I didn't stick it down because I'm string piecing. But it can stay as long as it wants. I use the double stick poster tape, and it needs to say removable poster tape. But this one has, it's 3/4 of an inch wide, and it has about 4 1/4 yards on it. So you can stick seam guides down until the cows come home. But to show you how easy this is to come off here, I can reuse my seam guides just by pulling this sticky off, if I can get it started. So here comes the sticky. Okay, it's about just a little bit thicker than masking or Scotch tape, and it's sticky on both sides, and it really sticks. I like this stuff better than the thicker stuff. Something about it just makes it stick better, but I'm saving this one for the next time I need a 1/4 inch down. I didn't put it on here because it wasn't on here when I moved this machine over, and I've just been string piecing, so I don't need it. I hope that answered your question, the long way about, with a little interruption from Sadie Jane. Okay, so Betsy Kessler says, don't know if you will remember this quilt from Raleigh last year, the 18-year quilt. Finally got finished. She says 4 flowers made by grandmother, hand pieced and hand quilted except for putting sashes, squares, and borders in. Started quilting in 2012, just pieces, flowers for the 3rd one for my son. Thanks for everything. And looking forward to 3 days in Bedford, Pennsylvania in July. It's going to be a really, really busy summer because I've also got Iowa in August. And we're doing 2 back-to-back retreats in Iowa and a retreat at Mary's Quilt Shop in Bedford, Pennsylvania. I love going up there because I get to hang out with Mary Koval and pet all her antique quilts. It's going to be a great time. So I'm going to show you. I'm going to biggie size this, okay, Betsy? Because I don't think... If I show you here, you really can't see what it is, but, oh, that one shows nice. You can see how she's quilted that hexie flower. So she took the rosettes and placed them down on squares of fabric and then added the sashing. So you can see her sashing there's a little bit better. The whole picture by itself is not real clear on a small phone. And there's window light, which we like window light. It can be sunny anytime it wants. That is gorgeous. I love how you quilted that. It just looks like a honeycomb, doesn't it? Everybody's saying honeycomb now. Okay, awesome. Beautiful job. Okay, Kathy Lang says, Quilt-Cam, following along while I finish my grandson's first birthday quilt in Western North Carolina. Well, this Carolina girl has now lived here 9 years. 9 years as of next month. I can't believe it. Oh, Liam, this is so cute. Oh, I love the monsters. She's got a bunch of monsters on the bus. So she can, her grandson will absolutely love that. The monsters are just so stinking cute. Let me see if I can make that a little bigger. Oh, I love the guy with his tongue out. That is just too cute. Kids don't care how much piecing went into a project or what the fabrics cost, or how many pieces are in it, or how difficult it was to piece. They just like the colors and whatever is of interest as far as novelty prints go. So keep the quilts easy and fun, and then make more of them. That is beautiful. Diane Oaks. Hey, Diane, how are you? She says, ooh, I love that. She doesn't say anything, but she sent a picture. So here's her string hearts right there. Let's see if I can, yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about. I absolutely just can't get enough of strings. And that heart is just perfect for Valentine's Day. I love it. It's great. So I was playing with some strings earlier, and this is what I ended up with. Okay, I have more crumbs and strings than I don't know. Then what should I? Then Domino's has pizza. But these are some that I've played with. I started doing these last March when I was on retreat teaching in Iowa, and they're just half square triangles. The block has one half light, one half dark. Do you know all the different things you can do with these? Remember our split 9-patch leader ender challenge and all of the different layouts that we could do with that? Guess what? Same thing. Any log cabin layout you can do with these because they're half light, half dark. Love this one. I could sew these from now until the end of my life and never sew up all the crumbs and small pieces that I've saved. I just can't let them go. I figure when it's my turn to go feet first out the door, all they'll have to do is pull in a dumpster. The little stuff will be really easy. 10 seconds, boom, it's gone. But for me, all of these little pieces are just way too much fun. So this is what I'm playing with. And it's an asymmetrical block. But when you spin it around and you add the next one to it and spin it around, it makes this really kind of cool, looks like lightning. I could call it greased lightning design. And I'm going to do something with this because I think this is very, very basic, but very, very fun. So there's a picture of the layout of these on this morning's blog post, which is January 25th, 2017. So if you do a search for that on my blog, you'll see what I'm doing with these. But these little guys, I mean, they're just little. So it doesn't take any more than 6 pieces to cover that little foundation. And the more variety you put in, the better. This one even has little words, and it says something, these will become a beautifully textured binding, or also they are textures and simplicity. So, but who knows? These are just way too fun. Okay, I want to sew some more. So while this one has its last corner on, it's still under the machine. And I now can pull another foundation. I'm going to set this up there. Okay. And remember, I'm working from this short pile. Somebody asked on Facebook once, oh, and that's perfect because that'll use up the last of that. They wanted to take their phone books to Office Depot or Office Max or FedEx or something and have their phone books cut down to a certain size. So what was the size they needed to cut them down to? Well, I don't make string blocks all the same size. And for me, it's no problem just to rip out a few pages and cut them with an old rotary cutter. I don't know what the big deal is. But if you wanted to, you could at least cut the spine off so that the pages are all separate. Also, I grab those financial prospectus that comes in the mail quarterly, same kind of thing. And I just cut them into whatever size I need with the dead rotary blade. I can get through 10 pages at one time. So having everything automated, if you're going to spend $10 to have them cut up a phone book, I'd rather buy fabric with $10, right? Here's the other guy. And as I told you before, this is junk fabric. This is the bottom end of an order form before there was digital online stores. And my doll pattern business was just mail order only. And I had oodles of these, and it's just the right size. I keep wanting to iron on that side, and it's over here. Okay. So we have a piece of recycled shirt. My strings are just pretty much dumped in a dumpster, and they're in a bin, and I usually have to run an iron over them before I can stitch them down, but you saw that. It only takes a couple of seconds. .301. Tons of fun. Very speedy. The paint colors are not all that gorgeous. I look at this one and it reminds me kind of root beer float. if you had to discuss, okay, well, what color is that? Melted root beer float, maybe. But it's a sweet stitcher. Okay. 84, did I say 84? I went to the eye doctor today, to the retinal specialist guy, And so far, so good. They just did an exam and they took pictures to compare them with 6 months ago pictures and to see if anything is progressing. And they said, if we need to see you further, we'll call you. Don't call us, we'll call you. So that was very speedy and quick, but I had to laugh because I'm 55 and I'm feeling kind of ancient as of my birthday Monday. But I go in there and everybody else is on walkers and in wheelchairs and on oxygen and whatever else. And I must have been the youngest person in there. And I thought, okay, it's a good day. It's a good day. I'm here having my eyes checked, but I'm still upright. And we have Quilt-Cam to look forward to. So I'm hoping that the results from that will be good. And that things are just holding stable. So send those well wishes. Now, this piece is too small. Saving that for a corner. And we'll check that ding-dong in just a second. Saving this for a corner. See, I'm running out of variety up here, so we're going to pull something else. How about this batik? That'll work. If it's blue, in it goes. 84. When you're sewing strings on paper, it's really important to use both hands because this bottom strip that I just pressed over sometimes wants to crawl backwards because the paper's slick, right? Now that's not a problem if I get a bubble, but I try not to have a bubble. This can be on this corner. Perfect, yay! So as I'm stitching, my fingers are kind of feeling the seam underneath, and I am keeping that underneath strip pushed forward so that the action of the presser foot doesn't push it back the other way. Oh, I know what else I was going to say. Speaking of string quilts, because you were wanting to see the string quilts and hoping this comes along soon. One of the quilts that will be in the book is the pumpkin strings that I just finished after Halloween. That went off to Quiltmaker today, and it does have a name. It's just called Pumpkin Time. I couldn't come up with anything else but Pumpkin Time. And so I did all of the digital drawings of how that quilt comes together with the piece borders and everything for them and sent that off today. And it will be coming out in the September-October issue of Quiltmaker, so you won't have to wait 2 years for that one. So as you're going through your scraps and stuff, be saving those gold and orange strings and some green scraps because you'll need that for the stems, and whatever color you want to use for your background, whether it's going to be black or all those variety of grays are the ones that I used. So that's coming up. And you know, since it's a magazine, the September issue comes out like the end of July, early August. So we've only got 5 months till that issue is out. So or 6 months. So it won't be as long as you think. So that went off priority today. And I'm looking forward to that one in the fall. Some stuff goes in the magazine and then ends up in the book. Some stuff just stays in the magazine. And some stuff just becomes a digital download. Some stuff goes in the free column. And then other stuff, who knows? We just keep putting it out there. All right, let's see what those ding-dongs were, because I thought I had put this on quiet. So, Irene says, oh, yay! How funny! She's got a matching machine. That is so funny. Oh, hi, Barb! She says, Barb and I are up upstairs in the studio working on infinity scarves and a flannel quilt. This is Barb's first time on Quilt-Cam, so a big hello to Barb. I'll share with you Irene and Barb. There they are, Barb and Irene from Louisville, Kentucky at Irene's shop where she does long arming, cotton to quilts. And here's, this looks exactly like, this is exactly my view. That is so insane because I am seeing on my tablet also and I'm sewing on the same machine. So that is just too funny, Irene. Too funny. Only you got different stuff on your wall, girl. Okay, let's go back to the email. Oh, I know what else I wanted to tell you. All day long I've been thinking of these things. Do you remember a couple of months ago when I blogged about my cousin Bethany? And Bethany is the one who lost her brother to a motorcycle accident. And you were so kind when I blogged about her mission trip to Aruba to help save the dog and the cat population down there. They're building a shelter. They're working on foster care for these animals and getting them healthy and adopting them out to homes where they can live happy forever lives. She flew to Aruba yesterday by herself, and by her post, she was a nervous wreck. But I wanted to thank you again for caring enough to help this young woman who, and her devastating loss, make something good happen. And you have a great part in that, and you should feel very happy. And as she posts her stories, I'll be sharing those as well, because she's a remarkable young woman who's been through so much in the past several months. In fact, about a month or so after Andrew passed, she also lost her grandfather. So it's just been one thing after another. And so we're happy that she's in Aruba, loving on the animals. They're getting them spayed and neutered and into shelters and into foster care and helping with the animal population there. So thank you very much for that. What else here? This was, whoops, it went down. M. Wilson. M. Wilson has a name at the end, Martha. Sometimes I have to go all the way to the bottom to see what their name is. Martha Wilson says, I bought 4 shirts for deboning $1 each at Goodwill and snagged some phone books from atop an apartment complex mail area that had been languishing since fall. I'm falling to the dark side. Thanks for En Provence. I finished the top this week, my first mystery quilt, and she's got it. Oh, Martha. Martha. Here's her En Provence. Isn't that beautiful? Now, I've had some people ask, oh, I'm so happy, that, why didn't I use half-square triangles around the Ohio star so that the circles were round on the outside as well as the in? And that, to me, would have looked too much like Celtic solstice, and I wanted this to look like diamonds with curves. So I left my squares plain, but I'm perfectly happy for if you wanted to change these solid yellow squares to be half square triangles. Remember, it's your quilt. You can do it however you want to do it. But I loved the diamond shape, so I didn't put half square triangles in there. I love your pink star points. Jody Moriarty says, hello from Indianapolis. I'm still working on my mystery quilt derivative. Quilt-Cam is the perfect time to quilt along. Today's my cousin's birthday, and I believe she's also watching. Happy birthday shout out to Susan Crane. So Susan Crane, if you're out there, happy birthday from you, not only from Jody, but from me also, and all the Quiltvillians out there. Oh my word. Oh, Jody. This is fabulous. And this is her derivative of En Provence. You see what I mean? It's a jumping off spot. It's not the end of the road. It's only the beginning, and you can take it however far you want it to satisfy your dreams and desires. And I'm going to biggie size this because that is, holy moly, girlfriend. That is just awesome how she's changed her colors up and her units up to come up with this design off of my poor humble little design with not a lot of interest. That is gorgeous. So she's changed her colors. She's turned some things around. She's actually done more chevrons. Or did you just turn those upside down? I can't tell. Or she's made more of the Tri-Rex units to do that. That is stunning. Absolutely stunning. I'm gobsmacked. Absolutely gobsmacked. Samantha says, working on my En Provence and enjoying Quilt-Cam tonight. Hey, Sadie. This will be the first Quilt-Cam I've been able to catch live from the beginning and my first mystery quilt. And you're be happy to know that I made sure that the battery was charged to 100% before we sat down. And what I don't know if I can show you this or not, but this is why Okay, so this is why we cannot charge and use the external camera at the same time. You see this plug? This is the plug for the external camera so that you can see. This is in the charging jack for the tablet. So I can't have this in here and charge the tablet at the same time. So it's worked just fine as long as I remember to charge the dang tablet to 100% before we start. So we are now at, see, we're only at 79%. We're good, and we've been going for 40 minutes. It's just got to think ahead. Okay, back to this. She says, oh, here's her block. I'm going to biggie this one too because it's really pretty. I love your fabrics. So here's her fabrics right there. And she has also added the half square triangles to the corners of her star block there. You're welcome to do that. If that's what makes you happy, by all means, please do that. Great selection of fabrics. So we are here with Rebecca, is it Lydy, L-Y-D-Y? We would sure like to have you visit Grand Rapids in 2019. So this is not supposed to be a Quilt-Cam. Never mind. I thought it was. Diane Oaks on strings again. What kind of container do you store your strings? Are you sure you want to know? How about this for blue? This is the blue string bucket. So I have more blue than anything. And what I've been doing is I'm also getting ready to do the Straits of Mackinac quilt that just came out this fall in the 100 blocks by 100 designers. So anything that is kind of turquoise or aqua that's been in here, I've been pulling those out. So hopefully I'll end up with less in this blue because I'm pulling the aqua out of it. See, here's some more. That's kind of can go in the other one. So I'm starting a pile over there. More blue than anything. I wear blue. I love blue. Blue is soothing. Blue is my spirit color. So I want to sew this down, which 84 border blocks, not going to make a dent, but it's a start. Okay. Now, one more, and then I'm going to sew. Okay, so Quilting Loft 04 says binding, watching Quilt-Cam while sewing the binding on a t-shirt quilt that will be given away to one of our local school bus drivers on Bus Driver Appreciation Week. So she's got a shot of the label here. It says Bus Driver Appreciation Week, February 2017, made by Lori Jones. Is it Jones? Jansen. Thank heavens for biggie size. From Monroe, Wisconsin. And she's got the backing fabric perfection here. It's got school buses on it, and it looks like she's used the same thing for the binding, but we want to see the front of the quilt. So if you can send the front of the quilt, that would be amazing also. Okay. And that's so cute. All right, Jean Bissell says, Quilt-Cam, thanks for Quilt-Cam. While I watch you, I am finishing the last couple sides of binding on the last of 3 quilts this week. I'm delivering them to Hospice House in Bend, Oregon tomorrow. I am not sure if this layout has a name, but I call it String Bling. My other recent project has been neutral string corners for these Ohio Star type blocks. So this is her String Bling, and it's kind of like a hugs and kisses layout from what I can tell. You've got the X block and the O block. And I love that. That is absolutely wonderful with that green. That appley green is just really pretty in there. And let's see her other one. String quilts are just fabulous. Oh, yay! So she's got kind of an Ohio star with a 9 patch in the middle. Is that the Dolly Madison star? I'm not sure. But then she's used string blocks in the corners. So any traditional block that has a large unpieced area, you know, if you make this block a 12-inch block, you've got 4-inch corners. Do string piecing in there. It'll use up so much stuff, and it'll make it so much more interesting. Oh, I think I have that fabric. But what a cute thing. And each block, even though they're similarly colored, each block will be so interesting on its own. I still have to refresh this because I'm still frozen on that page. Okay. So we're going to sew some more. And the plan is Friday to go up to the cabin And these blue strings are going to go with me. And then the red strips will go also with the blue strings. And this will be my weekend project. And then I'll be home on Monday because there's a whole lot of pattern writing to be done. And if I can't get both patterns done by the time I leave for Texas, well, we'll just give you an extension and they'll post when I get back. I figure I don't have to live by my own deadlines. Sadie's in my big comfy chair. She's looking rather dejected. Sadie, what you doing? Yeah, Mama just at that sewing machine. Okay. So as I go, I'm trying to add a little bit of variety in pattern, in scale, in design. So some things are scattered, some things are geometric, some things are plaid, some things are tone on tone. This one has a stripe. And just go for as much difference as you can. This one's a little bit wide. It's also on the bias, so I'm just going to fold it up and cut it in half somewhere towards the center. I don't even really go to the rotary cutter until these are pieced and they're ready to be trimmed to size. It's just more fun than should be legal. Okay, and we'll just keep sewing that same one, can go there too. $84. 84 of these. Some of these fabrics I remember well. I don't know how long I've had them. I think I can go this way. But I'm happy to see them used up. The only problem with string piecing like this is that I'm not working on my leaders and enders, and I hear the clock ticking in my mind that by July it's time for our next leader and ender challenge to happen. So how are you doing with this? Mine may stop at baby size because I'm liking them, but I'm just continually chaining, so there's just no time to stick these in here. But we'll get going on them again shortly. All right, so we've got 4 whole blocks in 50 minutes. Great. Okay, Tim Latimer. Hi, Tim Latimer. How are you? I purchased one of Tim's purses for my birthday. If you haven't seen them, they're on this morning's blog post, and I linked to his website, so you have to check this out. He's been making denim handbags, freehand motion quilting them on the vintage treadle machines. And he's got videos that show you how he's doing it, lots of pictures, but the best thing is holding one in my hands and wearing it over my shoulder. And I actually got a huge compliment both at the eye doctor's today and at the post office. So thank you, Tim. I absolutely love my purse. He says, your string quilting reminded me of one of my vintage tops, 50s pieced on Montgomery Ward catalog pages. So let's flip this up here. That giant plaid is hysterical. So here's the quilt, 1950s on Montgomery Ward catalog pages. And do you see how those blocks, it's like she didn't even care whether she was making X's or O's or double V's. Just put 4 together. However they come together, just put 4 together. I love this. I love what all the fabric says. All different dress prints. You know, nobody walked into a quilt shop and bought a jelly roll to make this quilt. and why they chose that big giant plaid for the sashing. Wouldn't you just love to know why? That is wonderful. I love that. So Tim, are you going to get this one quilted because it's gorgeous? Mary C., what I was working on. She says, I was making my newest granddaughter's quilt. This is the grandma version. Hers is pink fairy frost and some of the neutral 4 patches left over from En Provence. I used your side triangle chart to figure out the on-point setting. Thanks for Quilt-Cam. This is Mary C. in Walla Walla. That zigzag fabric in the center makes these blocks look so fun. So here's her churn dashes for her granddaughter quilt. But you see what that chevron fabric in the middle does? It's got so much motion. That is really fun, Mary. Thanks for sharing that. And Megan says, Quilt-Cam from Savannah, Georgia. I'm Mac. My mom, Christy, and I are both avid quilters and love keeping up with you, your projects, and your stories. So hello, everybody. She says, this year was my 3rd mystery, observing my mother, and my 1st in participation. She applied your colors and went scrappy. I went all solid and bold, but kept the same units. It was such a joy, and of course brought us even closer. Thanks you for the joy you share with all of us. I am so thrilled. Oh my word. Oh my word, that's the same quilt. Holy cow. So this is Max en Provence. Do you see that? Do you see what I see? I'm not singing Christmas carols, but that is amazing. I had to biggie size it to find the block. Do you see it? There it is. There it is, right there. That is just stunning. It's the same block. I never would have known. That is absolutely fabulous. This just tickles me to no end. I'm so glad that you could join in, and hopefully you'll join in with us next year. Okay. Boy, you guys have been busy in my email here. Susan L. says, just saw that Tim Latimer is in your audience tonight. Yes, we know. Hi, Tim. I do have special privileges when it comes to Tim's dog, too. I got to love on him in person. So I have had doggy kisses from Tim's dog. We love that dog. Okay, Sarah Matthew says, thought you might like my version of the half light, half dark string quilt. And she's got, oh, very fun. So she's got some half light, half dark, half square triangle units that make the star points. Everything else is either all light or all dark. And you can see how that continues into her borders. That is just beautiful. Would be awesome with selvages too. You guys, the ideas are just absolutely endless. So great. Dawn Lane says, what will you do with all the scraps after you square up the blocks? By the time I'm done squaring these, there's really nothing, and they get thrown away. I do not do dog beds. The fabric inside those dog beds really can't be washed. They all lump up, and they harbor dirt and germs and other things. So I know that makes me a traitor to the dog bed nation out there, but there are other things that can be used for dog beds, and this stuff, if it's very, very little, it gets pitched away. I need my bins to go down, not stay the same size. Okay. Helen Lemke says, Helen Ann from Mississauga, Ontario, squaring up half square triangles and marking them for Guild Mystery. 40 more to go. Thanks for Quilt-Cam. And she's got a photo here also. Oh, I see what you're doing. Very fun. So she's got some half square triangles there, and there's a line that's drawn corner to corner on her half square triangle. So she must be getting ready to do some stitch and flipping on those blocks. Great idea. Okay, so with it being 72 degrees outside, I should not have worn a long sleeve shirt. I am roasting here. Plus the iron. See, there's a reason why the iron is usually on this side. Okay, new foundation. And what's the rule? Pull from this pile until there's not enough variety. This strip is just under, well, it's just over 1.5 inches and just under 2 inches. So it's well within my size range. I will use from 3/4 of an inch up to 2 inches, not much over 2 inches because these blocks are fairly small and it would look kind of retarded if only 3 strips went across the block. Would look like I'm trying to get away with something that I don't want to get away with. So anything really wide, I cut in half. There's that one. I love having fabrics that have just a little pop of color. This one's got some little red hearts in it. It's going to look really nice and pick up the red of the fabric that I'm putting down the center. This one can be used and be gone. I think we're going to put this on vibrate because there we go. It's been very busy, which we like. So as we continue to work on this, and we're thinking of the next Quilt-Cam time, probably when I get back from Texas. The first week in February, I will be in Texas teaching for 2 guilds in the Houston area. And then I come home for a pretty nice break in between that and then flying back to Texas for the Dallas area, where I'll be teaching a workshop in Denton and doing a lecture and a workshop at a retreat down near... Oh, help me. Well, down near somewhere. I can't think of the name off the top of my head. All I know is that it's a long way from Houston and there was no way to link those 2 trips together, so they're 2 separate ones. But it's going to be fun. Texas in February. Will the blue bonnets be out yet? I'm not sure. But I know that February is a great time to be in the great state of Texas. Okay, this guy, this is what I mean. See, something like this, not really a string. So I usually just kind of fold it up in half and just snip it. I don't care if the strip is straight or not. Not too shabby, but I can make that work. $84. Need 84 of these. But then that top will be done. And I'm really excited about it. I wanted to do something with this book that those who are still doing Quilts of Valor would find interesting. And yeah, this quilt will be big, but you don't have to make it this big. If you make half the blocks, it would be a really nice size for Quilt of Valor. There's just something about blue. I just love the blue. Now, will that be big enough? This will be big enough. Okay. And it's so great to find the perfect small piece where you sew it on and it's gone and is no longer in the stash anymore. Gone. Goodbye. So as we are thinking about our next Leader Ender Challenge, I'd like to know what you'd like to do for Leaders and Enders. We've done 4 patches. We could do 9 patches. We could do rail fences. We could do we've done half square triangles in one block. What would you be interested in doing? And it can be something that's repetitive, but something that looks fabulous when you put it all together. So that's kind of what this whole thing was with these. I mean, they're pretty repetitive to make because the whole quilt is hourglass units, but it's going to be fabulous when it's done. And all of that variety is really going to pull it together. But if there's something, some small little unit that you think would make an absolutely fun Leader Ender challenge, let me know. I'd like to know what you're thinking. I love to do not just what I want to do, but I want to do something that other people would find interesting too. And that's why the last few things that we've done have been really, really great. The split 9 patch was wonderful. Lozenges was really, really fun and easy. It needs to be something that's fairly easy. We don't want something that has too many shapes coming together into a block because that just makes it too hard to grab as a Leader and Ender. We've also done spools. We've done bow ties. We've done 4 patches. We've done all kinds of things. But I'm looking for new ideas for this year, so give me your input. And is it something that we want to do completely scrappy? Or do we want to do it like our tumblers was completely scrappy? Or do we want to do something where it's a color plan? Maybe the whole quilt is red and white or something like that. The ideas are endless. We just need something fairly simple but easy to cut ahead and easy to just run under the needle when we reach the ends of our chains. So let me know what you're thinking about. Sew this on. Just love this machine, really. If I had to get rid of all my machines, this is one I'd keep. Speaking of machines, I took 6 machines with me to South Carolina to visit 3 guilds, and I sold 5 out of the 6. And I'm just thrilled. We sold a featherweight, a 301, mocha short bed. Not pretty, Irene. It was not a pretty one. I know she wanted it bad, but really, you didn't want this one that bad. We've got other prettier ones, but this one went to somebody who's going to absolutely love it, and it's perfect for taking to retreat, and you don't have to worry about a nice finish, and it's okay if it's a little bit beat up because it sews like a dream. I sold Marilyn Morse, that lipstick pink beauty. She just needed a home where somebody was going to love her and let her be the zigzag machine that she wants to be, and we found a beautiful place for her. She's going to have a very happy time living in somebody else's sewing room. I had a green Godzilla crinkle finish Husqvarna that has been adopted, and a 99K with beautiful decals is also on her way or living with her new owner right now. So the only thing that came home was a Singer Spartan, and that's okay because I love that little Singer Spartan. In fact, maybe next Quilt-Cam I'll have it out and stitching on. We'll be doing this in the future. On a driving trip is perfect for me to just select a couple machines that maybe I have duplicates of, that maybe don't get out to sew as much, and see if somebody would like to try their hand at vintage machine sewing. So I'm just happy to pass those on to whoever wants to adopt them. I won't be flying them anywhere. I'm not shipping them anywhere. I'm not taking special orders and looking for anything for anybody. This is just what I want to put in my car when I want to put it in my car and see if we can find a home for it. Okay, so I'm liking this combo too. Some skinny ones, some fat ones, some differences in color. This one's almost pushing aqua. It's even got some purple in it, but it'll work in just fine. It'll blend in just fine. The more, the merrier. All right, let's look into some more emails, and then I think we are going to be shutting her down here soon. Temple! It's in the retreat in Texas is in Temple. Thank you, Irene. I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Okay. I knew it was on the top of my Okay. So this one, Barbara in Virginia says, this log cabin king is getting pressed and going on to my long arm soon. Thanks for Quilt-Cam and your friendship. It's Barbara in Virginia, and she's done purples and aquas. Will this turn? Yay. So I can make it a little bigger. Very, very pretty. So she's giving this a final pressing, and then into the long arm it goes. That's another block I never get tired of. Log cabins, I will take them any day. Really pretty. Love the purples in there. Really nice. Okay, and this one, Barbara says, a happy belated birthday to you. Thank you very much. I'm enjoying watching Quilt-Cam tonight as I hand quilt Blue Ridge Beauty. Oh, Barbara, that is gorgeous. Oh, my word. And you are hand quilting continuous curves. That is stunning. So here's, whoops, I think I have to do it this way. I had to biggie it to see her quilting texture, but she's hand quilting continuous curves. That is absolutely stunning. I love this. I've got some hand quilting waiting for me at the cabin. As soon as I finish the hanging sleeve and the label on garlic knots, I'll be back to the hand quilting. That is just fabulous. I love it. Oh, great, great fabrics. Cute, cute. Hey, Irene, I think she's got one of your favorite neutrals in here. Really pretty. Okay. Tammy Frank Frankum says, you're going to be in Belton. Sorry, not usually any blue bonnets that early, from Tammy. Thank you. And Kimberly says, when it comes up, it's a blank page. These are the 3 quilts I have done since Black Friday. My goal is to make all your past mystery quilts, taking a break and working on 400 half square triangles that finish at 1.5 inches. Ooh, baby. Oh, I love snow pictures. What is it with snow pictures? So there's her en Provence in the snow. I love that. Looks very cold. And here is her Old Tobacco Road. This mystery is still available under the free patterns tab. It's down at the bottom where the old mysteries still live, and this one's still free, and it will stay free. So if you want to make this one, it's written as a mystery, but you can just go part by part by part, and you can look at the finish if you want to know what fabrics you want to sew with, since you already know what it looks like. And here is her Christmas lights. It's another one from the free patterns tab. This would look great in other fabrics. I would love to see this in other fabrics. Switch up the red and the gold and do blue and green or turquoise and pink or something like that. Absolutely great. Okay. Beautiful. Mandy Lassiter. No relation. Says, I forgot my name and location. This is Mandy in Amarillo. So senior moment. Okay, so we got to find out. Did I show yours already, Mandy? I think I did. JN says, Quilt-Cam, trying to clean my sewing room and reduce my too large of stash, just using what I have and designing as I go. Janine Nelson. Ooh, sweet. So this looks like stained glass because it's in front of her window. But those are all half square triangles. And she's pieced the half square triangles into like a twisted braid cable kind of thing. And then she's got it separated strippy style by Solid Black. That is absolutely wonderful. What size are the triangles? Any size you want to be. So it always cracks me up when I'm doing a string block like this and people want to know, well, what size is that? Well, what does it matter? Make it any size that you want. Remember, I do them all different sizes. This is really fun. And all of those half square triangles, that looks like it's all one fabric that is just, that's her border. It is. I thought these were all different colors, but that's her border on the outside. And all of those half square triangles are just however the border fabric was cut. Beautiful job. Beautiful. Okay. Pat Kilmaine, how are things up in Alaska? She says, found out today I can't see Facebook Live on my iPad due to the fact that it doesn't support Adobe Flash. I'm sure my Kindle would work as it's Androic. I think it's Android. But unfortunately, it's not charged. Hey, we have that in common. She's enjoying us on the desktop. So we got to do what we got to do. And one more from Celeste that says, how do you, question mark, how do you put the red stripe in the center of that string-pieced blue block you are doing on Quilt-Cam? My miniature version of En Provence finishes at 36 by 36. 36 inches by 36 inches by Celeste. That is absolutely beautiful. Okay, so you want to know the secret of this thing here. So I will take this block and trim it to the size I need. And then cut it corner to corner. So I have 2 triangles. And then I will take a long red strip and sew it, insert it in between 2 triangles. But I won't have the triangles matching each other. They won't be from the same block. It'll be, you know, a piece triangle from one block and a piece triangle from another one. Insert the red strip and then square up. So that's how I'm going to do it. And that's how I can get them to be the size that they need to be. It sounds harder than it is, but I absolutely love blocks gone missing. Oh, they're over here. I was even thinking, I've got 3 of them here. Let's see. My quilt rack doesn't really want to keep things up here. Oh yeah, stuff gets buried. Don't know where it is. Okay, but imagine a 3rd one here. Now, what if instead of all blue, I did it with these, and I cut across here and inserted a strip and then put them together in a block like this. The ideas are just flowing. So yeah, lock me on a deserted island somewhere, deserted desert island, with a 301 electricity and Wi-Fi and enough fabric, and I could string piece myself into oblivion. So much fun. Okay. Yeah. Just one more, and then I think I need to get off this phone because it is my son's birthday tonight, and I do need to go spend some time with him. So this is from Linda in New Zealand, and a question at the end. So hello down under. She says, so excited with my En Provence progress, almost all units finished to make a 3x3 block top, as the larger is too big for me to quilt myself. Understood. Really understood. No problem. Today I'm trimming and pressing my Clue 7 blocks and discovered I haven't pressed all of my Clue 1 yet. I also have a baggie of wrongly cut Clue 7. This is like if the train is moving at such and such miles and you have 15 oranges and a gaggle of geese, how soon will you get there? Instead of just cutting the bonus ones first and then changing to the companion angle, how I laughed. Now I have a head start on something in the future. Thanks for sharing with us. Okay, now to the question. I have a question. Sorry. I've pieced a lot of my units using 100-weight Invisifil thread by Wonderfil, a Canadian company, in my bobbin. Only now I'm worried. The mistakes have been very easy to unstitch with the top thread pulling out easily. Does this mean it may come apart at a later date? Should I restitch before completing the blocks? Is it because there's a problem with your tension? Or is it because the thread is shiny and slick? And, you know, it's like, what would be like nylon or rayon or something. Sometimes that thread is slick and it allows the other thread to slide through. What I would be more worried about is if you press it to one side, can you see the stitches in between? Does it look like railroad tracks? If so, that could be a tension issue. You should not be able to pull them apart. Once you have seams that have crossed other seams when you're joining these units together, the stitching should not come undone either. But if you are easily able to just pull the thread and have your piece come apart, to me, it sounds like one or the other tensions on either upper thread or bottom thread is not adjusted correctly for thread balance. And because the Invisifil is a finer thread, my guess is that your bobbin case is not, doesn't have enough tension on it, and that's just coming off the spool because it's super slick. I don't know what kind of machine you're sewing on, but that would be my guess, is that it's a tension issue, not a thread issue. When you press to one side like this right here, if you cannot really see big railroad tracks of thread going across, it should be okay. And when you cross that seam with another line of stitching, that's going to anchor those threads on the end. So what I would do is do a test, sew some patches to some patches and see. Check your tension. Top thread and bottom thread, and we shouldn't be afraid to adjust our tensions if we need to. That's why there's different kinds of weights of thread, and that's why tension can be adjusted to accommodate all those different weights of thread. But what it sounds like to me is the thread in your bobbin is very fine and slickery, right? Slick, okay? And the top thread is probably normal, whether it's Aurifil or whatever, and one is not slick and the other slick, and one may be heavier than the other, and one needs a little bit more tension on it so that the thread doesn't just pull out. Sound good? Okay. Well, everybody, it's been wonderful to have you join me tonight. I feel like we had a great time and the battery didn't die, and we are at still 87%. Pretty good. What I'm going to do after this is over is I am going to upload the video to YouTube and then write a quick little blog post to embed it in the blog post, and it'll be archived under the Quilt-Cam tab at the top of my blog. I will also pin this to the top of my Quiltville page until the next Quilt-Cam goes live. So over the next couple of weeks, you'll still be able to access it on Facebook at the top of the Quiltville page if you come to it. If you aren't a member of Quiltville's Open Studio, I would love for you to join us. That's where sharing happens. 24/7/365. We're a global group. It's the biggest quilt guild you've ever had pleasure to be with, and we've got gals sharing everything that they're working on, and gentlemen too, and kids too, on what they're working on. And we welcome you no matter what stage of quilting experience you are at. And if you have questions to ask, be it help me pick this border fabric, what do I need to do for this problem I've got, there will be somebody there to help you. It's a very, very interactive group, and I'm very proud and happy of my Quiltvillians. So I want to wish you a good night. If it's still early where you are, you don't have to stop sewing right now. In fact, I'm probably going to go spend some time with Jeff and then come back down here and sew some more. 84. I need 84. And then weekend up at the cabin, and we will be back here on Monday. I'll be posting to the blog every day all the stuff that goes on, and thank you for sharing your life with mine. I really enjoy being able to share with you as well. So until we meet again, have a lovely evening, everyone. Bye-bye.